In this lesson, you will learn how to create chat functionality for Contact Center, as well as incorporate SMS ability for your clients. Chat capability comes in two different forms, proactive and reactive. Proactive is a small piece of script that is embedded into a web page, allowing your customers to interact with a chat window. Reactive is a link which will open a separate window in a browser and where your clients interact with the chat agent. Both are configured the same exact way with the same design implementation, with the exception of URL placement. To navigate to chat configuration in the admin portal, click Configure, General, Queues. Locate the chat queue in question and select Options to the right of the queue. You will now be at the chat queue configuration options. On the General tab, you will see your ability to choose how your chat is going to be used. You can select to only use reactive, reactive and proactive with invite, or reactive and proactive without invite. With or without invite reflects whether or not there is an auto-populated invite for the chat feature when a user arrives at a website with the chat feature embedded. Under launching criteria, you have options to start proactive chat after an allotted time of the web page visitor being on the page, launching chat either minimized or maximized, and the ability to delete chat sessions after a specific number of days. The Start Proactive Chat After field will allow you to set the time before the chat window will pop if you have selected to use invite. The Styling tab is where you will create the look and feel of your chat window. As seen here, you can change pictures, light and dark themes, main colors, size, and even get a preview while making changes. To place a company chat logo in the chat window, enter a URL in the chat logo URL field. There are several options for agent picture in chat. You can select to not show a profile picture, show a picture or default image if there is no image for the agent, show picture or nothing if there is no image for the agent, or always show the company default image. Additionally, you can set a title for chat agents such as Consultant or Support Agent. The two available options for styling the chat window are Visual and CSS. Visual mode allows you to adjust the look of chat and see the changes you are making in real time. This is probably the easiest method to utilize. CSS mode requires someone with web programming experience to create a more customized CSS file and upload it into the admin portal. There is a downloadable template that can be found here. Each visual option does not need to be covered in detail, but as seen here, any change that is made can be reviewed prior to updating on the visual representation in the center of the window. On the Treatment Options tab is where you will configure how the chat will react and interact with the chat visitor. Check the top box and enter an active company email address if you want the visitor to be able to send an email if chat is currently closed. Check here to display wait time in queue and select the next box to display position in queue. Screen pop is a command to perform an action on the agent's end, such as auto-opening a specific web page or piece of software. In the next section, all options will be grayed out until the dequeuing option is activated. Checking the dequeuing option will give you the ability to select options for actions to take if the chat is dequeued after your set time. You can select to have the visitor leave an email, leave a callback request, reroute them to another queue, redirect to a URL such as a company FAQ page, or display a message to the visitor such as, "We are sorry, but we are currently too busy to accept your chat request. Please try again." At the bottom of the page, you can create messages to show to visitors while waiting in queue. This is similar to a message that one may hear while waiting in queue on a phone call to an IVR. Click Add and type your message. Setting duration times is how long the message will show before an additional message appears if you have configured multiple messages. Messages that you no longer need or are out of date, for example monthly sales messages, can be deleted to the right of the message. Default headers and messages can be set on this tab. These messages will appear to the chat visitor if any of the parameters are met. For example, if the chat queue is closed, the visitor will see the message that you type here. If you do not choose to create any custom messaging for any of the following fields, the system will display default messages. A list of default messages can be found here. Data collection is a list of items that you can request or require of the visitor prior to starting a chat. Checking the top box will initiate the request of visitor information. The remaining fields below are similar with the exception that the left column is a request and the same items in the right column are making the fields mandatory. If set as mandatory, the chat session will not initiate until the information is entered. At the bottom of the page, there is the option to create up to 3 custom fields. Clicking on Edit to the right of each field will open a new window where you can select a label, what you are asking for, a tooltip, or explanation of the field, make the custom entry a request or mandatory option, and the control type, or how the information is entered. The options here are single line, multi-line, or even a selection from a drop-down menu. If you select drop-down, you must enter each line option for the drop-down menu. For example, you can make your custom field customer type. For the tooltip, enter "Have you ever done business with us before?" Make the field mandatory, select drop-down list, and then add never, once, a few times, and several times. Click OK when complete. There are some additional chat queue settings that can be found by navigating to Configure, Inbound Chat in the admin portal. These are canned messages and chat transcript settings. Canned messages are pre-built responses that can be used by your agents to simplify and speed up their interactions with chat visitors. Your first step in creating canned messages is to create a group. You can create one group that encompasses all chat agents, or you could create groups that only contain certain chat queues as to keep the responses separate by department or job title. To create a new group, click New. Note, there are no messages at the bottom of the screen and the group name changes to New Group. Name the group, add a description if you would like, and then select the queues that will be part of this group. Select Update. Now that you have created your new group, you will see that the Messages field is available to create new messages for this group. Selecting New here will start a similar process as creating your group. Give your new message a title. It is best practice here to title your message something very distinct to alert the agents to the content of the message. If you have a lot of canned messages, it could be difficult for them to locate the one that they are looking for. Place the content, or what the message is saying, in the Content field. Be aware that your agents can modify the message prior to sending, so it is okay to put placeholders in the content that the agents can customize prior to sending. Once you are ready, click Update at the bottom of the window. Messages can only lie within one group, but can be moved to a different group by selecting the group from the Move to Group drop-down at the bottom of the window. If you need 2 of the exact canned messages for 2 different groups, you will need to create duplicate messages, one for each group. The next chat queue configuration is Chat Transcript Settings. This feature allows the agents to send a transcript of the chat interaction to the visitor. You can add a from and reply email address to the transcript, which may differ or be the same. A BCC address is sometimes used to send a copy of the transcript to a third-party or company repository. Best practice would be to create an email subject line that makes sense to the interaction, such as today's chat interaction with your company. Finally, create an email body letting the visitor know what the email is for, greeting, signature, etc. Where you would like the chat transcript to lie in the email, you will note by writing %transcription % as seen here. Once complete, be sure to click Update at the top of the page. Note, the ability for agents to send chat transcripts can always be toggled on and off by selecting or deselecting the checkbox at the top of this page. SMS, or Short Message Service, is a text messaging service that is commonly used with mobile devices. As customers using SMS to communicate with your company will be interacting with chat queues, let's take a look at them now. To use SMS, you must first have an active account with either Twilio or Bandwidth. Once this has been established, navigate to Integrations, SMS in the Admin portal, and select the tab for the service that you use. As seen here on the Twilio tab, you must enter your account information and click the Update button. When using Bandwidth, once again, enter your account information and this time test the connection. Once the test is verified, select the Phone Numbers Import tab at the top of the page. Fill in the required information, and then test. With either service, once numbers are in the system, you will need to navigate to Configure, General, Queues in the Admin portal. At the top of the screen, you will see a link to Manage SMS. Your SMS numbers will be listed here, and you will have the ability to assign them to the appropriate queues. Click Edit to the right of the number to bring up the edit window. In Routing action, select the path the SMS message should take. You can ignore Send to a chat queue, Route to email, Route to a web service, or Use for dinotes. For our purposes, live chat assistance, you would select Send to chat queue. Choose the chat queue from the available chat queues in the next dropdown and give it a description if you would like. There is the ability to accept SMS to closed queues, but this option is rarely used. The following three options are auto-reply messages that can be customized or even selected whether or not you want to use the option at all. Once complete, click OK to finish the SMS number setup. You should now know how to set up the chat and SMS functionalities in the admin portal, allowing your agents to interact with clients from a web page or even on the go. Thank you for watching.
Orchestrating a Brighter World, NEC.